some weeks ago was a deep fake that suggested that Taylor Swift had endorsed Donald Trump. Well, last night he, quote, lost that major endorsement as Taylor Swift came out and said that she is backing Kamala Harris. And she said that in a very sort of eloquent and well-written, very well-written post to social. Post the debate, she had listened and she suggests that others should really do their deep dive and find out who these candidates are and make their decisions. How big an impact do you think this endorsement will have, Brian?
Well, in an election where literally every vote counts in a number of swing states, Taylor Swift does matter. You know, this is an election where celebrity endorsements do matter because the margins are so tight in some of these states, and because she's the biggest celebrity in the world. Not only is she the biggest celebrity in the world, but she has a fan base that is young. In some cases, these fans have never voted before, and so they're going to be moved because of her. But let's back up. I don't think anyone's surprised she's endorsing Harris over Trump. It's a little bit surprising about her timing, and I think she was very savvy in the way that she did it. She basically said to her fans, I usually would keep my vote private, but because there's all this nonsense out there, because there's these AI-generated lies out there, because Trump has made me part of the story, I'm going to be transparent with you and tell you I'm voting for Harris. I thought it was a very savvy, structured way to explain why she was announcing this. Because what she was saying was, I don't want to be dragged into this. I'm not trying to pressure you to vote, but I'm going to tell you what I'm doing because everyone is wondering. So a very smart move by Taylor Swift to handle it the way she's handled it. And because these races are going to be so close in swing states, it is possible that this will matter. But it's also very hard to measure, right? How many fans are going to vote because of Taylor? We'll probably never know for sure.
Yeah, fascinating. And good to have you. Thank you, sir. Well, some new information into CNN on a story that we've been following here on Connect the World. US President Joe Biden has condemned the killing of an American activist by the Israeli military in the West Bank, saying it is, quote, totally unacceptable. Aisha Noor-Egi was killed, of course, at a protest last week. In a statement, President Biden went on to, quote, say, quote, I'm outraged and deeply saddened by the death of Aisha Noor-Egi, and he called for full accountability. The Israeli military says she was hit indirectly and unintentionally. Stay with us. You're watching CNN.
Spend all day streaming college football on DirecTV?
Can you blame them? They've got the biggest rivalries.
And bowl games. Speaking of, Frank, run a snack to the bowl of chips. Bobby, button hook to the salsa.
What are you going to do, Coach Brian?
Don't question your coach, man.
Why has America accepted the wait for payday? When life doesn't wait for you to get paid. Introducing MyPay from Chime. A revolutionary new way of getting your pay when you want. Get up to $500 of your pay before payday. No interest, no credit check, no mandatory fees. When any day is payday, it's a good day. Get paid when you say with MyPay. Get started at Chime.com.
Serving in Afghanistan, I was hit by sniper fire, and I was given a 5% chance to live. It's a good thing math wasn't my best subject. Today, I visit classrooms and share my story. I tell kids that with a little help and a lot of work, that you can overcome any challenge.
DAV helps veterans like Adam get the benefits they've earned. They help more than 1 million veterans every year.
My victory is being there for the next generation.
Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
Today was a good day, and it kind of was. But we have 56 days to go, and guys, we're still the underdogs in this race. It's tight. So let's get out here for these next 56 days. Hard work is good work, and we will win.
Well, that was US Democratic presidential nominee Kamala Harris speaking to supporters after Tuesday night's debate against former President Donald Trump. Her campaign clearly feeling confident, perhaps somewhat relieved about her performance. That was Tuesday night, so now we are down to 55 days until this election. Of course, a lot can happen in that time. Well, I have a stellar panel to discuss what might happen next. Julian Zelizer, David Sanger with me, along with CNN Politics senior reporter Stephen Collinson. Welcome, all of you. We just talk about this embarrassment of riches when I've got you guys lined up on my show. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. David, let me start with you. What do each of these campaigns need to focus on next in the 50 days or 55 days between now and the election to come out on top?
Really great question, because I think what you got a picture of yesterday in the debate was Kamala Harris's strategy, which was basically to get under Trump's skin and make him sound angry, backward-looking, defensive. He took the bait at every single step. You didn't hear a new policy pronouncement, a new what he can do better than he did in the first term. On the other hand, she was pretty evasive about specific policy ideas. She generally endorsed President Biden's approach on Ukraine and certainly on the Middle East without delving into what she might do differently. She did she played up the differences between herself and Trump on abortion issues, which play well for her, and other reproductive rights issues. And he tried, with only moderate success, I thought, on the economic issues. She did a very good job of casting him as more of the incumbent than President Biden being the incumbent. I think what's really fascinating for the next month and a half would be if we heard from either of these candidates about their view of America in the world. And for President Biden, former President Trump, what you basically heard was Viktor Orban endorses me. So he's basically got the endorsement of an authoritarian. We didn't hear very much new from Kamala Harris, particularly on the main challenger to the United States, China.
Julian, what we did hear from Kamala Harris was her putting some distance between herself and Joe Biden. Look, we know that this was a sort of thread the needle situation. Put some distance between her and him without sounding disrespectful to the president. How did you think she did there? Because it was important, wasn't it, that she laid her stake in the ground for voters who believe that she brought no change, just a continuation of what is this Biden administration.
It's a start. It's not the culmination of the effort, so she can't stop at this. I think in two areas you saw this. One, she continues to do what she did at the convention, speaking about the Middle East, trying to find more of a balance rhetorically between support for Israel, but also understanding the immense cost this war has had on Palestinians. And that's not a specific set of policies, but we don't usually get those in campaigns. I do think it's a way to distinguish that she will be more, forthright or more aggressive, she wants to argue, in bringing this to an end. And then on the economy, she tried to talk about certain structural opportunity barriers that middle-class families face, housing, for example, that she wants to address. And that's a subtle way to say she's not dismissing Biden's efforts on the economy, but simultaneously understands there's a lot of work done. Again, it's a start. The concerns are very real in the polls, and I think in the next 56 days, that's one of the top issues she will have to tackle.
I thought it was a telling point when she said that in response to Donald Trump accusing her of being Joe Biden, she said that she wasn't Joe Biden. She went on to say that she was also not Donald Trump. What she said is she was a new generation with new ideas. Again, you know, putting some distance between her and the US president, but in a way which was, you know, respectfully done, I guess you could describe it. Stephen, in your analysis after the debate, you write, and I quote here, even if he loses ground after the debate, Trump has long had, still had the advantage of the top two issues in the election, the economy and immigration. How does the Harris campaign change voters' minds on what are, let's remind ourselves, key issues 55 days out?
Ever since the Vice President jumped into this race, she's been trying to show more empathy with voters on the shock they get when they go to the supermarket and see their grocery bills, and their difficulty getting into the housing market. But the problem is she's not been particularly specific on these issues, as David said. And if these issues are indeed so deeply felt by many voters, it may take more than a good showing in a debate and a few policy speeches to you know, compensate for that. So it could be something that she ultimately, if she loses the election, was unable to do, and it may have been an impossible task. But I think what I'll be looking for over the next few weeks is two things. One, whether Trump's campaign, his conservative media friends will be able to actually fog the reality of what happened last night to perhaps lessen the impact of this debate, get back to those issues on the economy and immigration, which the former president has struggled to effectively address, actually. The second thing is, if she gets a polling bounce, it could be significant because some of these early voting states, North Carolina and Wisconsin, they're beginning to vote in early voting and mail-in voting in the coming weeks. So the fact that this is only 8 weeks to the election, it doesn't mean there's 8 weeks till election day. Some people are going to vote before that. So a bounce of even a few points, which could be very significant in the race, could actually be more significant in this after this debate than it has been perhaps in decades past.
You make a really, really good point there. Very briefly, and I'll start with you, Stephen, and I'll ask you all, yes, no question. Do you expect to see these two face off again before the election, possibly twice? Stephen?
I'm not really sure what's in it for Trump because he's perceived to have lost, but who knows? This campaign has been completely unpredictable, so anything can happen.
I don't think you'll see another. My guess is that, well, you heard President Trump make the case that he won. That was in sort of the prepackaged ways. I think as he hears even what his own advocates have to say, he'll realize that he's not gaining the one thing he needed, which is more votes with moderates and so forth. I doubt he'll come back for a second round.
Julian?
I think I'm there too. My sense is whatever he says, Trump is shaken, and he's been shaken now for a while, and he's not confident how he will do in another contest. So because of that, I think the odds are low that he will try this again. And Harris is you know, doing well where she is now, so she would rather in many ways continue to focus on the campaign trail and other media efforts.
We've been discussing both the impact of Taylor Swift and Elon Musk through these past couple of hours on the show, both of whom, of course, have considerable influence with, I want to say, fairly disparate groups, but certainly between the two of them, they have some influence on a significant amount of people, let me put it that way, in America. I want to play a little bit of what our colleague CNN's Abby Phillips had to say on the impact of Taylor Swift's endorsement. Have a listen.
It is always significant to have the most powerful force in pop culture on your side. The one contrarian view I will say is that in this moment, the thing the Harris campaign needs perhaps the most is to figure out how to reach men. They've got to figure it out here in Pennsylvania. They've got to figure out how to reach black men. And I'm not sure Taylor Swift helps them with that. It's a totally different ball game that Taylor Swift is in.
Yeah, this was a really important point that Abby was making. Let me start with you, Julian. How does the campaign make up ground with men?
Well, I think Governor Walz is very helpful, and then talk about issues that matter to men. I think there are policy issues which matter to both genders. Everyone cares about getting a house. Everyone cares about student loans. Everyone cares about their groceries. And if you deal with those effectively, and simultaneously make the warning that she will try to make and made last night, that the other person is a danger to the stability of government, those appeal to men as much as women.
Right.
And then she obviously doesn't want to discount a very powerful female vote, and that's where Taylor Swift for younger women could actually be a kind of celebrity endorsement that counteracts some of those other two issues Steve was talking about, inflation and immigration, focusing on issues like reproductive rights, where she is doing quite well compared to the former president.
I set up this panel by saying I had a stellar group. You are, thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure. We'll have you back. We are 55 days out, gentlemen. There is a lot to get through between now and the election day. Of course, as Steve rightly points out, there are a lot of postal votes going in before that. So all good stuff. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. What a day. The post-debate analysis, and of course we've been reporting on the 23rd anniversary of the September the 11th in New York. We've been covering the commemorations there at Ground Zero there in Washington, and of course in Pennsylvania. That's it for Connect the World. Stay with CNN. Newsroom is up next.
Dubai is a magnet for global entrepreneurs seeking to leverage unparalleled opportunities, competitive financial incentives, and global talent and trade connections. Dubai's digital transformation sets the pace of change, from the cutting-edge solutions creating new possibilities to the green investments shaping a more sustainable future. Dubai stands out as a launchpad for success.
Hi, my name is Damian Clark. And if you have both Medicare and Medicaid, I have some really encouraging news that you'll definitely want to hear. Depending on the plans available in your area, you may be eligible to get extra benefits with the Humana Medicare Advantage Dual Eligible Special Needs Plan. All these plans include a Healthy Options allowance, a monthly allowance to help pay for eligible groceries, utilities, rent, and over-the-counter items, like vitamins, pain relievers, first aid supplies, and more. The Healthy Options allowance is loaded onto a prepaid card each month, and whatever you don't spend carries over from each month. Other benefits on these plans include free rides to and from your medical appointments. You pay nothing for covered prescriptions all year long. All plans have dental coverage, which includes 2 free cleanings a year, fillings, and a yearly exam. They also have vision coverage, including vision exams and a yearly allowance towards eyewear, such as lenses or contacts, and hearing coverage, which includes routine hearing tests and coverage for hearing aids. They'll also have a $0 copay for the shingles and other routine vaccines and in-network retail pharmacies. Plus, your doctor, hospital, and pharmacy may already be part of our large Humana networks. So call the number on your screen now. Speak with a licensed Humana sales agent. Wouldn't you love benefits like a monthly allowance? To help pay for eligible groceries, utilities, rent, and over-the-counter items. So if you have Medicare and Medicaid, call the number on your screen now and speak with a licensed Humana sales agent. If you're eligible, they can even help enroll you over the phone in a Humana Medicare Advantage Dual Eligible Special Needs Plan. So call now. Humana, a more human way to healthcare.
Do you have a box of videotapes, film reels, or photos that aren't degrading? Legacy Box professionally converts them to DVDs, thumb drive, or the cloud. Legacy Box is simple and safe. With over 1 million satisfied customers, visit legacybox.com today and get 50% off.
Join me, Larry
door as I introduce you to Africa's trendsetters. See how they use their talent, resources, and passion to make a difference on the continent. This is African Voices Changemakers.
From country and western to death metal, African artists contribute unique tunes to the continent's alternative music scene.
Without saying Africa, I would like the world to know that country music lives here.
African Voices Changemakers on CNN. Innovative, futuristic, solutions that have the potential to really change our world.
AI changes the way we think about cancer.
A promise to improve healthcare.
It's just kind of modern and intuitive.
With smarter, faster, and more precise diagnoses.
So millions of doctors can collaborate to build the world's best care.
Can AI live up to its hype in healthcare and beyond?
I'm Veronica Miracle, and this is Bold Pursuits. I'm Melanie Jokos in Dubai, and this is CNN.
Top of the hour here. Thanks for joining us on CNN Newsroom. I'm Erica Hill in New York. Two major stories for you at this hour. The debate fallout. Kamala Harris and Donald Trump facing off for the very first time. The big takeaways, the fact checks, and how the campaigns are hoping.
Yeah, but what if we want to help bring some stuff
Plus,
down?
remembering one of the darkest days in American history and honoring the lives lost 23 years ago. In what is arguably one of the most unpredictable presidential races in U.S. history, moving into a new phase today on the heels of last night's contentious showdown between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. The two meeting for the first time on the debate stage, the vice president actually introducing herself when she went in there for the handshake. From there, the candidates squaring off over abortion rights, immigration, and the economy. Harris at times appearing to really get under the former president's skin.
Donald Trump was fired by 81 million people. So let's be clear about that. And clearly he is having a very difficult time processing that.
go around, and the whole block is at the door. The whole block. She said the only one that didn't come there was the Jamaican man. He's staying in his
What happened, sir?
the whole goddamn block.
What?
On the in the block, standing in front of the house. She said she opened the door to see people, the biggest crowd, all the people on the block. She didn't tell him every time he's in the hospital. She hollering in the street. She's sitting on the next door man. She and the aide on the next door man, the Jamaican man stairs, and hollering. She's going just right on the block. How is Mr. Stewart? Tell us if you're living. And it's like she's spreading the whole goddamn thing to the whole goddamn neighborhood. That's what I'm saying. Why didn't I say that to you? Like some things, I'd say, baby, don't have to tell her all of that. The thing that you said, she's doing something very important was enough. Now, every time she sees her, she's hollering, always outside, hollering down the block, coming way down the store, hollering, she said she wants to, she would never get into it. She said, oh, he's so-and-so. So now the whole goddamn block now, and the whole goddamn block is always in front of the house. He said she come out the house, and she said, for a while, he just ran down the door downstairs. Same time she went to go all that, she went down there. Papa do answers the door, and she's not even saying nothing about that. She's saying to Papa do. That's very garbage can out there. They didn't take the recycle because it's too many big. You guys got pot and this and that, all that stuff. And he said, they didn't take it. So she's like, well, what the hell is wrong? Did Papa do that? And your mom look at her, they own the house now. Because all these people come in, knocking their door, walking inside, all this stuff, and telling them, it's like insane. They just need to goddamn go. Like, I don't know, they're making me to the point I don't even care about them. Like, they're gonna have to be in the goddamn street. It's so annoying. My dad's complaining one time, and this is not even the goddamn time. And then they're spreading people's business around. You know my parents, they're more afraid than me. That's the way we were raised. The people try to wash that out of me, but that's the way we are. We don't go telling everybody how that is. Do they come tell you theirs? And soon as people come and ask, and so they're running them out like goddamn water. Like the son said, don't tell that lady nothing. That's your mom, but she don't need to know my family business. And my mom's still asking if you got the information.
It take too long to respond. What did you say right there in the text? And when you gotta go back to work? I thought Mom said Friday or something, you have to work. So